who have been the biggest positive surprises for the Chicago Bears so far through the bye week. We're going to talk a little bit about that and why there are some reasons for optimism, a lot of reasons for optimism for this team coming out of the bye week as well. We're going to look at all that, plus Breece Hall trade rumors and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all. And I want to talk about some Chicago Bears that have definitely surprised me by the way they've been playing so far in the first 4 games of the season. There are a couple of them that I want to talk about here. And number one on my list that I have to talk about is Noah Sewell. I cannot stress enough how much I thought Noah Sewell would be a non-factor for this Bears team this year, right? I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Like, I'm not going to even front on it. I'm not going to front run like, oh yeah, I always thought that. Like, I mean, of course, when we first drafted Noah Sewell, I was very high on him. I thought that the kid was going to have tons of potential. He was tough, all that type of thing. I looked at him as one of those players, but it wore off his first 2 years of the league. And coming into this season, I thought Ruben Hippolyte was absolutely going to pass him up on the depth chart. I'm not even going to lie to you. I thought he was going to get absolutely passed up on the depth chart. Not only did he not get passed up on the depth chart, he also, has been one of the best and most consistent Chicago Bears. He's second in the team in tackles with 30. He has 2 tackles for a loss, 1 forced fumble as well, 1 sack as well in this. Noah Sewell's been performing pretty damn well, right? And so, like, we understand that TJ Edwards looked like he's on his way back and how Noah Sewell's going to factor into this for the Bears. But I tell you what, I went from Noah Sewell being somebody that I had no expectations for at all to somebody that now I'm saying, hey, it's good. We need TJ Edwards back. Make no mistake about it. But you still better be finding snaps out there for Noah Sewell. And I got to give him credit for that. And for that part as well, Tremaine Edmunds has been so much better under Dennis Allen as well. Right now, I'm not going to say it's as much a surprise as Noah Sewell because Tremaine Edmunds has always been a player that's been starting and stuff like that. He's now kind of getting closer to what we wanted out of him when we paid him. But Noah Sewell was a guy that he was out of the rotation. Of course, he had his health concerns, but he was mainly playing on special teams. And he's just had such a tremendous turnaround for me that the way that I view him is so night and day. So shout out to Noah Sewell for the way that he's been performing for this team. He's been giving so much effort for this Bears team. And so I wanted to start off talking about him a lot. And then a guy that's come on more in the last 2 games, right? The first 2 games of the season were bad for Tyrique Stevenson. Absolutely bad. All culminating in, a perfect passer rating that he gave up in a game. And then for the last 2 games before the bye week, Tyrique Stevenson has been so much better, right? He's been one of our best coverage corners as well, him now being the cornerback 1. And maybe, just maybe, right? And I'll say this, maybe a little bit of that was him just adapting to a role. I'll give him some credit. Now, he was bad. And I think even in those first 2 games, how bad he was is almost unacceptable to give up that, right? But when you look at Tyrique Stevenson and how he's turned it around, against the Lions, he gave up that perfect QBR, right? And that was concerning, especially considering, the Bears season turned in a lot of Bears fans' minds after that Hail Mary play that a lot of people blamed on Tyrique Stevenson, rightfully so. But then you look at what he gave against the Cowboys and, being one of the tone setters in that game and then putting his body on the line for interception against the Raiders, where he was also targeted 12 times and only gave up 3 receptions for 16 yards. Tyrique Stevenson has really grown in that CB1 role. And it's good to see him now as cornerback 1 playing in a solid way. Now we need him. With Jalen Johnson still being out, even if Kyler Gordon does come back, Tyrique Stevenson is still shaped up to be the CB1. So we're going to need that to continue, right? But when you look at Tyrique Stevenson on the season, 19 tackles, 5 pass deflections, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 interception in 4 games as well. Like, Tyrique has been really, really good for the Chicago Bears team, and he deserves to get some credit for what he's been able to do here for the Bears. And then lastly, I want to point out a player that has gone from a player when everybody was looking at the class and people were saying the Bears got it wrong again with the wide receiver that they drafted. Rome Odunze is having so much better of a second year in the NFL that he is having the breakout. I had an episode a couple of weeks ago where I said it looks like Rome Odunze is finally going to be a home run draft pick for Ryan Poles. 20 receptions, 296 yards, 5 touchdowns in 4 games, right? He's trying to break NFL records. And this is a guy that has emerged as not only Caleb Williams' favorite target, he's emerged as one of the better wide receivers in the game of football as well. He's on track to absolutely break some records. Now, expect that pace to continue for him. I think some things are going to open up for the Bears, especially if they open up the run game and stuff like that, where different options, if we start targeting Luther Burden and Colston Loveland some more. But you cannot doubt what Rome Odunze has done in year 2, looking like one of the best wide receivers in football. And for what it's worth, the tandem of Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, top 10 in a lot of areas as a unit. And so that's really, really looking forward for the Chicago Bears and some things that are really looking good for the Bears overall. So those are some players that have really stood out to me so positively in what they're doing. And that's not to knock anybody else, right? I think you got to still look at the growth of Caleb Williams, what he's doing without a run game, what he's doing as far as just being under center for the first time in his football playing career. He's shown tremendous growth. And like I've said many times before, all the people who hate on Caleb Williams because they're worried about the fingernail paint and whatever else he's doing, hey, at some point, it's just going to come down to football. And this dude is playing really well. He won NFC Offensive Player of the Week for his performance against the Cowboys. This is a guy that's been playing really good for the Bears. And the only person that I think really, either him or Rome Odunze as the offensive MVP for the Bears up to this point. And same thing, Kevin Byard. Kevin Byard has been absolutely playing really well for the Bears and giving the Bears a lot to look at when it comes down to it. So he's really stepped up. I think when you look at the defensive side of the ball, the players that really, Tremaine Edmonds, Tyrique Stevenson, Noah Sewell, Kevin Byard, these have been our best and most consistent defensive players for the Bears so far this season. And you just really can't deny that. Like, these are guys that have been absolutely showing up for the defense, and we're going to need to rely on them even more as the season continues and goes on. And it's some of the reason for optimism, which gets us to the next topic that we have to talk about here is why are there reasons to be optimistic about the Chicago Bears coming out of this bye week? They got, we got 13 games left on the season. What are some reasons to be optimistic about the Bears? And one of them is Caleb Williams. The play and the growth that Caleb Williams has had, leading a fourth quarter drive, things that we saw him do before, but scoring more in time of it. He's handled the blitz really well this season. Most of his best production has come under center, which is really good for him. Like I said, a quarterback who hasn't played a lot of center, a lot under center in their career, right? This is a guy that's he's understanding, he's reading defenses better, he's reading the blitz better, he's understanding when to make plays with his leg. Of course, sometimes, I'd like to see him be more accurate. It's still, so even with that said, him being one of the reasons for optimism doesn't mean that he still needs to grow. But I tell you what he's done under Ben Johnson so far is a big part of why I do have some trust that some of those things are going to get and be solid for the Bears. The other reason for optimism is players returning from injury for the Bears. TJ Edwards, Kyler Gordon, Austin Booker, Darnell Wright, who missed a game, Grady Jarrett, right? These are all guys. Now, Darnell Wright has not played the best. Grady Jarrett has left some to be desired as well. But on that defensive side specifically, I'm really excited to see what the entire starting defense looks like, the projected starting defense, and how it fits together, right? Because now, with Kyler back, hopefully, by week 6, having him out there and what he does for run blitzing, pass blitzing, how he can help be a supportive player. We already know Dennis Allen is going to scheme him all over the place and how he's going to use him. Sometimes he's going to line up as a linebacker. Having Kyler Gordon as that Swiss Army knife kind of do-it-all player, positionless player in a way under Dennis Allen, we haven't had that. There's nobody on this roster that replicates that for Dennis Allen. So we haven't even tried it. And so there's a whole added wrinkle to this defense that we have not had that Dennis Allen was planning for, because the guy that's the important piece of that hasn't been on the football field. So getting that alone is a big reason. TJ Edwards and the toughness he brings and run support there, right? So those are some reasons to hope that the Bears' run defense can get better this season. And then Austin Booker. Listen, our edge performance has left a lot to be desired. And while Austin Booker looked tremendous in preseason, it is preseason though, right? But having another body out there, and I tell you what, Austin Booker's moves that he used, those advanced moves that he uses to get to places he needs to get to, that's going to be something that I think is definitely going to help him coming into this season. So Austin Booker is another player that I think adds to what this defense can do overall. And I think that that's going to be a thing. We have not seen the best version of this defense. We haven't seen all the talent that we have on this defense. We may never see it this season. Jalen Johnson is probably not going to come back this season at all, right? And so because of that, like we're never going to get to see what kind of the envision was in full, because having Jalen Johnson to shut down the side of the field, having Kyler Gordon in the different ways that we can line him up, having Austin Booker coming in there and bringing some more consistency to that edge, like that would have been such a special thing on theory in paper, right? But now we get to see a different version of that. We get to get TJ Edwards back. We get Kyler Gordon back. We get Austin Booker back. Tyrique Stevenson's been playing really well over 2 weeks. We got to hope that that's going to continue for the Chicago Bears. But getting players back healthy is a huge reason why to be optimistic about what this Bears team can be after the break, because we're getting those players back. And then I think also with that said is, Ben Johnson, what changes do you make on that offensive line? What changes are you bringing there, right? It's Theo Benedict, Ozzie Trapillo. These are two guys that in your last game, over your last couple of games have each shown something. Theo Benedict had a game where he was getting worked a little bit, right? But you have those questions in that for sure. So you're looking at how those things are going to come along for you as well. But, I think, looking at the changes that you can bring to this offensive line are going to help. And then I think also, like, there's still more potential in this offense. What we've been doing without a running game has been special. It is what it is. Being so one-dimensional as we have been has been really good. But you're gonna have to get more production out of your running game. You're just gonna have to. And until the Bears do that, it's gonna be something that we continue to look at and we're questioned. But if the Bears can get any semblance of a consistent run game together, to me that shows a team that, hey, listen, the sky's the limit when it comes down to that. So we're gonna hope that we get better production out of that overall. And I think that, the Bears don't know if they make a trade or not. We'll talk about some rumors of Breece Hall and whatever else, but I'll say this. If you can find whatever way you can get it done, you can find a run game for this team, there's going to be some benefits there. There's going to be some benefits that drastically help you as well. So we'll hope for that, because I still think there's tons of potential left in this offense that we have yet to untap fully, right? And then I'd say coaching. I still feel very confident in this coaching staff. I think they're going to strike the right balance. They're going to find the right ways to motivate. And if that continues to happen, this team is going to continue to find, like, we found new ways to do things. And so we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen there, man. And I think overall, too, one of the things that we haven't really seen a lot from some of our more promising rookies. Colston Loveland, of course, was hurt, but we haven't seen a lot to him yet. Luther Burden, another guy that had one big game, but haven't used him consistently yet either. You look at Ozzie, you look at those guys, like, these are guys that still have something to show the Chicago Bears this season. And so I think looking at also those rookies, and as we incorporate Colston Loveland and Luther Burden even more, that's a whole added wrinkle. But we need the run game to get going to do that consistently, I think we absolutely have to have that run game together. If we don't, it's going to be difficult to do it. I know we can have the targets, but I'm talking about the production, right? And that's something that you have to get into. So outside of that, I say this: the Bears rookie class too. I still feel very confident in this rookie class that we have, but we just got to see more of them, right? We got to see more of Colston. We got to see more of Luther. Ozzie Trapillo, I think now off that small sample size that we got, you may have a chance. Like, you did it in a small sample size, but who did you do it against? Max Crosby, right? So let's get him out on the field. Shamar Turner's another guy that I want to see, especially as we haven't been getting that consistent pressure up the middle. Let's give him a little bit more opportunity as well, right? He's been inactive for most of the season. He did get a shot at playing against the Raiders where he had 2 tackles and a tackle for a loss. So, again, small sample size, but maybe some promise there, especially as you're getting Austin Booker and Grady Jarrett back also. Ruben Hippolyte's another guy that's played more special teams than anything else for the Chicago Bears right now. But he's racked up 4 tackles in 4 games, only 18 snaps played on the defensive side of the ball. So, we'll see what's going to happen there if he can get in there. So, still some more that we need to see out of that Bears rookie class. And we'll see what the future is going to hold for it as well, man. So we shall see what's going to happen. But with that said, of course, there are rumors around the Chicago Bears. There's going to be rumors all up and down everything. But one thing that's been evident with the Bears is that we need a running game. And so, of course, Breece Hall is the latest guy that everybody's talking about right now as far as somebody that could be moving on. The New York Giants are 0-5, I believe, on the season so far, right? So, and Breece Hall would be an immediate upgrade for the Chicago Bears team. Now, I know we got a voicemail actually from Darius where he talks about, not necessarily trading for that, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But, I have the similar mindset of what I do to everything. What's the cost to get Breece Hall in here, right? What are you giving up? Because I'm not giving up a pick on either day 1 or day 2. I'd be willing to give up a day 3 pick to get a running back in here, but I'm not willing to give up anything more than that. Now, Breece Hall, for what it's worth, is only 24 years old. So if you're going to talk about giving up a day 2 pick, maybe it is for somebody like Breece Hall. Last season, 876 yards running on the ground, 483. And, this is another running back that fits the mold of what Ben Johnson likes. A dual threat running back that can do a little bit of everything, right? Can pass, can catch passes out the backfield. And I think with his age of being 24, he doesn't get in the way of, even if we want to draft a running back in the draft, if Kyle Monangai does step up for the Chicago Bears some, right? So if those things happen, I'm not mad at it. Like, the way that I look at it is this, and I have it's a simple mindset to have on it. I won't lie. But the mindset that I have on this is, if Ryan Poles and this team find a way to get a running back in here now to help this team, because they see, hey, what we're doing right now is something that it can take us off the top if we're able to do that, if we're able to get this running game going. Do it. I'm not mad at whatever you need to do to go out there and find a way to make that happen. So that's my personal opinion on it. You guys can let me know how you feel down below. I'm not expecting everybody to share that mindset. I know some people want to be protective over the draft picks, and I'll say this, I understand that too. The Bears aren't at a place yet where you want to mortgage too many draft picks, because you're still going to need some future things. But I think Breece Hall, being 24 years old, like, that's the type of player that you're going to hope to draft anyway. Right now, Jeremiah Love is different, but it depends on what the Bears do. So let me know what you guys think on that down below. With that said, let's get into the one voicemail that we got today. This one's from Darius.
What's going on, guys? Darius from Dallas, man. I just wanted to call in because I had an interesting conversation with my buddy Keys about getting a running back. He likes Breece Hall, and for a minute I kind of liked him too. I'm not going to lie, but then I got to thinking, and I want to see what you think about this, Hayes, because this is kind of how I feel about it. And I was telling Keys the same. I don't think that we have an issue with running the ball because we don't have the talent. I think we have an issue with running the ball because Ben is the problem. Now, I'm not saying that he's a bad coach, because from what I've seen so far, I love the fact that we have Ben Johnson as a coach. I love his route concepts are fucking amazing. That we finally got a coach that draws up schemes that make sense. He's finally developing the quarterback for a change. We've got a coach that knows how to develop a quarterback. I love Ben Johnson for this team. I think he could potentially create a dynasty. But the fact that we don't have the run game going is 100% his fault. That part is his fault. Because, for one, he doesn't call a lot of running plays. He just doesn't. I mean, we're one of the most passing teams in the league right now if you look at the stats. I know, Hayes and, some of y'all like the little stats people, so, look up the stats or whatever, but we pass the ball a lot. And he just doesn't call a lot of running plays. And we're paying a running back good money in DeAndre Swift to not just be a scat back. We're paying, this guy can't do no more than what Tyrique Cohen could do, and he's getting elite running back money. So that's a problem. Now, he's still good with the outside zone runs. I think he can still be a strength in that. So if you mix in that, you throw in Roschon, the fact that he's not even giving Roschon the ball for whatever reason or another. Where Roschon's biggest strength and part of his game and who he is as a football player is his ability to run in between the tackles and pass block. So with that being the main thing that we need right now, I'm confused on why he's not getting the ball, Benjamin. And then you got Monangai. You said in the press conference that you trusted him. It doesn't look like you trust him on game day. So if we actually utilize the run game the way we need to, and we actually give these guys that we said we believed in, right, touches, then maybe we don't need a Breece Hall. That's my only point, but let me know what y'all think. Text us up there now.
First of all, the bromance between Darius and Keys needs to be studied, because I feel like each one of you guys have brought the other one up in your voicemails. Like, y'all just need to start a podcast. And I don't mean that lightly. Start it. We'll support it here. Hell, matter of fact, we may even air it here. But Darius and Keys, they always bring each other up. But with that said, I'll say this. I understand what you're getting at and asking the question. I think Keys left a similar voicemail, But here's the thing. The balance is they've been given the opportunities. We, on average, run the ball 27 times per game. We throw the ball 33 times per game. That's about the same balance that Ben Johnson struck in Detroit. And we saw that a Ben Johnson as a play caller in Detroit is not afraid to call balance. Like, you haven't had the way that I look at it is we haven't had the production. If you have better, we have one back that's averaging over 4 yards per carry. That's Caleb Williams. DeAndre Swift, 56 carries. Averages 3.3 yards. He's the fifth highest paid running back in the league. So, like, he's had the opportunities. Kyle Monanga's only had 17 carries, yes. But again, 3.6 yards per carry. Do I think you need to work him in there more? Absolutely. But I can't say that Ben Johnson's the fault for why we're not having better success on the run game when we run the ball 27 times per game. 27 times per game. And we've gotten little to no production out of that at all. So I get it that what do you want it to be, 50-50? Like, we're only passing the ball 6 more times. So if we run the ball 3 more times, bam, we're right at 50-50 between offense and defensive balance if we were to do that. But does it feel like you're going to get much more out of that than that? I don't think so. Right? So I get it. And like I said, you're not the first one to ask this question. So I'm not going to act like it's a crazy question to ask there, but I'll just say this, like, we're not having the success in doing it. We're not having the success. And so because of that, what are we supposed to do? If we're not having the success in doing it, why will we keep doing something we're not successful at? Why will we do that? Now, yes, we are in the bottom 6 teams as far as rushing attempts overall per game. We are that. But also look at the average per game. We are in the bottom 6 teams as well there. So I would need to have better production before I'm ready to say, oh, it's just Ben Johnson not calling enough run plays for us to not have the opportunity. Like, we 27 times per game. 27 times per game. That's just my viewpoint on it. I know Darius is one of those people that if you respond to him, he has to respond back. So we're gonna get Darius, I'm sure, his comments on my comments here in a second. But let me know what you guys think on everything down below. Make sure you guys are following us at Chi Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.